Hey guys, Mark here. So I was told this last week that I am the long Cornerstone connection doer. So if you want to grab that cup of coffee, go ahead and do it. So we're about to jump in to the book of John, chapter 7, where, interestingly, Jesus is baited into a situation by his brothers. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there. Have you ever been baited into a situation by somebody? Or maybe you've been the baiter. Maybe you are the one who baits other people into doing things that they probably shouldn't do. That's probably me, in all truthfulness. I would say I'm more on the end of the baiter of people. Oh man. But I do remember this one time. I was a junior in high school, got my first job. I was working at the school district office. And I was working as an administrative assistant kind of, but they would have all of these work orders from maintenance and different things performed across all the different high schools. And I had these big binders and I was sorting it and I was working through stuff. And it was a good first job. But there was psycho crazy lady. Now, I don't know if you've ever known a psycho crazy lady. It could have maybe, a psycho crazy dude. Oh man. But it was funny because my boss was there kind of showing me around, and they had this very overly complicated filing system. And she was like, but don't worry. I'm in high school at this point, right? So she's like, but don't worry about remembering everything. If you get stuck, here's so-and-so, and she'll help you. And she was the sweetest person, you guys. She was like, oh, yes, I'll help you. No problem. We're a big team, big family here, all good. So I'm feeling pretty confident because if I have forgotten anything, I have this great resource to be able to help me. And lo and behold, high school Mark just forgot where something gets sorted to. So I go off and ask them. I was like, hey, I forgot exactly where this goes. And I would understand this if this was my fifth time asking her this question. You guys, this was my first time asking her this question. And she was like, Mark, I cannot do my job and your job at the same time. You're going to have to figure it out. And I was like, what? Man, where's the nice person that you were 5 minutes ago when my boss was here? I miss her. Bring her back. But it was weird, man. And it was weird because she was so sweet. I felt like I was baited into asking her for help when I really just shouldn't have. It would have been better if I never did that. In that moment, I felt very baited in that this person was going to be somebody who was going to help me, and that was not the situation. Well, I don't know if you can relate to that, if you've ever felt baited in life, I don't know. But it was interesting because I was reading here in Luke chapter 7, and it's like Jesus' brothers are hardcore trying to bait him into a conflict with the Pharisees. It's pretty crazy here. But in Luke chapter 7, here in verse 2, it says, but when the Jewish festival of tabernacles was near, Jesus' brothers said to him, leave Galilee and go to Judea so that your disciples may see the works you do. There's a nice little piece of bait in there. No one who wants to become a public figure acts in secret. Since you are doing these things, show yourself to the world. For even his own brothers did not believe in him. And that is the first big indication that they're not speaking out of a genuine heart. They're being kind of cynical here, right? His brothers, they don't really believe in him at all. And therefore Jesus told them, my time is not yet here. For you, any time will do. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify that its works are evil. You go to the festival. I am not going up to this festival because my time has not yet fully come. And that word up is just very interesting there because in the Greek, that is the same word up that is used to describe Jesus ascending up into heaven after he raises from the dead. And he ascends to the right hand of God the Father. And so what Jesus kind of referencing two things. It's more than the festival, right? Jesus understands that going there, making a public spectacle of himself in this context, it's not God's timing, and it's going to rush his crucifixion. It's going to rush his death. And there's a specific plan that God has laid out. And so here Jesus' brothers are baiting him, right? If you really are this Messiah, if you really are this cool guy, go ahead and do it. Let everyone see it. Just do it, Jesus. Just go for it. And Jesus doesn't quite fall for it. Sometimes I think I can like relate a little bit to this. As a believer, I feel like sometimes when people don't believe your faith is genuine, I've had my own family that's been the case before, and it can be hard exactly to know what to do that, because there's regular baiting, which Mark will fall for every single time, and then there's specifically baiting when people try to get you to do things that they know are wrong, really because they're wanting to challenge your faith, and that's just like in a whole different level. Well, the people here didn't believe. So Jesus actually does end up going to this festival. It continues here in verse 10. However, after his brothers had left for the festival, he went also, but not publicly, but in secret. So Jesus was perfect, right? We know he was without sin. He perfectly fulfilled those requirements of being at all those festivals and every Jewish requirement. He did that. He was completely obedient. And yet in the same way, God, Jesus is fully God, he's also fully man, right? And so in the same way that as God, Jesus knows that there's a specific way that his plan, his redemptive plan is going to be worked out. And this isn't it, which I think is just so neat, the testimony of Christ there. When people try to bait you into doing wrong things, remember, your identity is in Christ, your authority is in Christ, and you're working for the things of Christ, not the things of man. Well, hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.